Artist Production.
What's up, sir? How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. Glad you had time for us today on this edition of All Access Gospel's Indie Artist Corner. And before we get started with the interview, everybody out there watching, I want you guys to make sure that you go over to our website, www.allaccessgospel.com. You can subscribe to our website there and get updates and information about what's going on and what's relevant in the gospel music industry, as well as keep up with all of the artists that we're interviewing during the series of Indie Artist Corner. And then also go follow us on all social media at AA Gospel. We are on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, of course, because you're seeing the stream on Facebook Live. So make sure you do that. Go follow us. Now, we need you to do that right now, which is a little faster than right now. All right, I'm a country boy. Y'all know that. Those of you that are watching, you know that about me by now. Country boy. So we say right now in the country. And so I'm going to make sure you guys go over and follow us and check us out. Mr. Cook, tell everybody out there watching us how they can follow you on social media and all that good stuff.
You can follow me on all social media platforms at Trey Cook Music. On Facebook, that's Trey Cook Music. Type it in the search bar. Instagram, Trey Cook Music. Twitter, Trey Cook Music. Go to www.treycookmusic.com. All one thing, Trey Cook Music, all one word.
I love that. Now, I need all the artists watching this to understand Mr. Trey Cook, somebody already told him or he figured it out on his own, but you always want to make sure all of your social media handles are the same. It's going to make it so much easier for people to find you. And by the way, it does help your analytics on search engines. So you definitely want to make sure that you are changing. If your handles are all different, make them all the same. All right. So that was free. That didn't cost you nothing.
Right. Artist managers give the tips out. Give them tips. Give them tips.
Yeah, it's so cool because I've had people actually find us from other means just by keeping the handles the same. They weren't looking for me on a certain social media outlet, but they found me just because it's all the same thing. So that's what's up. That's a good deal. So all right, Trey, before we get started, I need you to see if you could sing us a little bar or something so the people can hear what you do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Bible say be ye also ready. You never know when your time is coming.
I ate all this jerk chicken and cabbage and rice and beans and oh my God.
I just heard you sing a few minutes ago.
So what's happening now?
just a little bar. Oh, how I love Jesus. You know, Mary had a little lamb. Give us something.
Oh God. It's Easter. Why do you cry? He has risen. Why are you weeping? He's not dead. Why do you cry? Oh, he has risen. Why are you weeping? He's not dead.
Yes, sir. One time, everybody, for Mr. Trey Cook giving us the impromptu vocals. And I have to say in fairness to him, y'all, that I did not let him know I was going to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, the good thing is
very clear.
The good thing is you did a good job, so it's all good. No worries.
God gets the glory.
And thank you for doing that. I appreciate that for you being a good sport and doing all that. So let's talk about really quickly. I know you got a new single out called No Fear. I really like it, by the way. And
thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir. And I also want to remind you, since we're talking about that all of our Indie Artist Corner artists will have their music featured on our Spotify playlist. So those of you that have Spotify, go over there real quick and pull up the All Access Gospel Indie Artist Corner playlist. And so it's had not only Trey's music is going to be on there, but all of the artists that have previously come through are also on that playlist. And I'm telling you, some dope music is on there. You definitely want to go check that out. So we're adding Mr. Trey Cook to to the lineup there on for his new single No Fear. So I want to make sure y'all go check that out. All right. So tell us about No Fear. What inspired the song? Did you write it? Who wrote it? What happened? How did it all come together?
Well, for the most part, I write all my music. So I wrote No Fear. The crazy thing is I can't even really tell you when I wrote it. I just know we're here now. So I might have wrote it. I think I wrote it like last year sometime. And it definitely came out of a place of I write songs based off like personal, like me. So I was just dealing with some things and being like, you know, a lot of millennials, whether we admit it or not, we are based and driven by public opinion. And so sometimes that holds us back from doing the things that we want to do, things that we feel like we are called to do. It stops us from achieving and reaching and attaining our goals and just becoming great in life. So I feel that I wanted to write a song to encourage people. Of course, we know the Bible says, with all things God is possible. Greater is he that lives in me than he that is in the world. We have all these scriptures and all these cliches that we quote and put in the atmosphere, but it's like, how much do we really believe it? So I wanted to encourage and write a song that really lyrically encourages the people. Like no matter what comes up against you, no matter when the enemy comes and tries to take the thing that God has already given you, because God has already given us the victory. So when the enemy comes in and tries to, you know, attack your mind and say, you know, oh, you're not going to be anything, you're not going to accomplish it, you're not going to do this, whatever. Remember, God made you a promise, and God cannot lie. Therefore, we have to remember that God said he will always be with us and he will fight for us. And greater is he that lives in me than he that is in the world. So why are we fearful? Why are we being afraid? Why are we being scared of the things that might or have the capability? The weapons might form, but they won't prosper. So we just have to be encouraged and remind ourselves. And that is, I didn't want to write a song limited to the millennials or just designated for a specific generation or population of people. I wanted to write a song. It's a little churchy. So it might be geared for the musical ear of the churchy people, but the lyrical content is cross like ethnicities, cross generations, cross everybody. If you are 65 years old and you want to go back and get your college degree, or you want to start a business, you want to do anything, then do that. If you're 18, fresh out of high school, and you want to be a millionaire, do that. Do whatever that thing is, whatever you feel like God has called you to be, do that. And do it with excellence, do it in decency, do it with order, and just be great in whatever God has called you and deemed for your life. So, and just be fearless, because we will never know unless you take that leap of faith. Where faith exists, fear cannot be.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the fact that you quoted scripture, which, you know, a lot of times, a lot of the songs don't necessarily, it seem like the newer age songs are not really incorporating scripture as a part of the message of the song. And so I just always felt like that if you use scripture in songs, that you definitely, you know, it's pretty hard to miss on that front. Also, I think that this song is great in terms of its timeliness with the message, no fear, because obviously we're in the midst of this COVID-19. And as you know, everything is being done like this now, from television shows, major productions, red carpets, and now this. So I think it's great that the message is saying no fear in a time that really, frankly, is kind of scary to the country. A lot of people are dying and contracting this COVID-19, but I applaud you for that.
A lot of people have told me, you know, this is a great time for this song. Great timing for the song, and I do believe it. It's crazy how God does things. It's just kind of crazy how I wrote it, and all of a sudden this thing happens. But with being fearless, we also are not supposed to be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? So while we don't fear Corona, we are not afraid of this virus. Even in this time, we are still mindful and cognizant of the things that can come along with it. So we need to take the necessary precautions to prevent those things from happening. But God is my rock, and he's my salvation. So whom shall I fear? There's nothing on this earth that could, you know, exert fear, because as long as he's with me, who, as long as God is with me, who can stand against me? Like, all these things that we say, we just have to put faith behind our words that we speak. So, yeah.
I love that. Love that. So, No Fears Out just came out, and literally just came out.
Yeah.
And so we're excited about that. Let me ask you this: have you? I know with everything that's going on with the COVID-19, you may not have been able to do a lot of the things that people would traditionally do with a single release, whether like that's a concert, a listening party, or any of that. So how are you? Yeah, right. So how is it that you're planning to, pretty much get the message out about the song and doing what you want to do to get it notoriety and gain exposure?
So right now we are doing a lot of different, like social media. Social media, I think, has become the artist, the indie artist, the label artist, the person, church. It has become their best friend. Social media has been people's best friend, but especially during the time of like production, there's no need of making CDs right now because here in DC we're on lockdown until like June 10th, so there's no need of really making like physical copies because where are you gonna go to sell it? You're not even supposed to be out of the house. So between social media and more social media, that has been the best platform that we can kind of use right now, between Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We're making TikToks, we're making hopefully voices, everything that we can kind of do to kind of get the word out, to encourage the people, like, to be fearless and to have no fear. That's what we're kind of doing right now, because like I said, you don't need to go anywhere to go on iTunes and buy the song. You don't need to go anywhere to go on Spotify and stream it or whatever, and you still are able to chart. You're still able to get the benefits or see the growth and the maturity of the song and the how it's growing and expanding and reaching the country. So social media has definitely been my best friend, and then also your mind, your creativity has been my best friend, because right now we're in quarantine. So what happens now when this is lifted? How are we going to approach, or how are we going to attack our demographic of audience once this is over? Because everyone's going to be doing a concert. Everybody's going to be doing church services. Everybody's going to be doing revivals. Everybody's going to be doing this. Everybody's going to be doing that. So what are we going to do that will be different and that will, catch the attention? Yes, fear has tried to sneak in and be like, no, that's not going to work. However, how am I going to promote a song and don't believe what I wrote, right? So we are just now trying to figure out just different ideas and different strategies that we can use to circumvent the opposition that we're gonna face once this quarantine is lifted. But right now, social media.
One of the things that I am grateful for all of this madness is that it really has, if you're already a creative, then it's teaching you how to pull out of that. And it's teaching you more creative ways to do what it is that you need to do to get your music out and to get your exposure out there as an artist. So that's really a cool thing there. Now, with respect to, you talked about social media and things of that sort, I want to ask you, where can your music be found right now? Where can they go find all of your music right now?
All right, so I had to change atmospheres. I'm sorry. Now say what you said again. I'm sorry.
No worries. I was just asking, where can the people find your music? I know you. I know Spotify, of course, because we've already added you to our indie artist list over there on Spotify. But what other outlets can you be found on?
I can be on Apple Music, Google Play, YouTube, all the digital outlets. And if it's not out yet, that's because everything is, I don't know, with the corona, everything has been pushed, it has been out of whack. Everything has just been from people receiving it to the different distributors, getting it to the prospective stores. But right now it should be everywhere that music is sold. So iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, we sent it everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, 10 Cent, Tidal, we send it everywhere.
Yeah, that's good to know. And I'll tell you something. One of the things I manage an artist. Her name is Robin McGee. So check her out, by the way. Her name is Robin McGee. So check her out if you get a chance. But yeah, one of the things that I'm telling artists is that make sure if you're putting your music out, that you give it plenty of time to go through all the digital channels to be processed, especially right now, because with
Right.
COVID-19, as you saw yourself, that timeline is kind of slowing things down. So
Yep.
I've been telling everybody, give yourself maybe an extra 2 weeks to where you get everything over to them before you release your date. So, just to get, make sure that it's all there when it's supposed to be there. So that's a
Right.
really good, cool thing that you said there. And I also want to talk about, you have another single that came out a little while ago. So talk about that a little bit. Talk about your previous single.
Previously. So Outpour, that I released that in about 2016. And it was definitely a place like I will say the journey that I want my listeners and followers and my supporters and families to be able to take away from is they see the growth as I grow. So they can kind of like envision and picture the place that I was in. And then with each project, they see the maturity, they see them as I matriculate through life. They see the progress and the development of where I am, where I used to be. So with Outpour, it was different. It was definitely in a place of I was at a yearning for God. It's like, God, like, what is up? I just finished a transition. I had moved from state to state. So I had a big transitional shift in my life. And it was like, all right, God, I came here. I think I followed you. What is that? I'm not seeing what I think should happen. The things that I thought the outcome I thought I was going to have is not happening. So what's up? And one of the lines, it says, God, I've poured out so much. Like I pour out, I sing, I go, I travel, but I forgot about me. Like I forgot about this. I forgot about my own soul, my own health, my own well-being, my own fulfillment. So God, actually, I need you to pour back into me. I'm crying out because I want you to pour into people and you to bless them and you to bless me. But God, no, I need the same thing. I need you to bless me. I need you to restore me, rejuvenate me. I need you to do all those things that I asked you to do for other people. Now it's my turn. I need an outpour of your love, outpour of your grace, outpour of your spirit, outpour of your mercy. I just need an outpour. Fill me up, God, to where I can know where I overflow and I just can't take no more. I have so much of you that's just like I'm just overflowing with your love and your just all the things that come along with being one of your children. So
yeah. Let me ask you, what are one of the hardest things about being an independent gospel artist?
One of the what?
What are one of the hardest things about being an independent gospel artist?
If you want to be completely honest,
sure. We love complete honesty.
Huh?
Yeah, I love complete honesty.
The fact that I don't want to, sometimes I pray before I say what I'm going to say. I don't want to ever be taken the wrong way. But the fact that there are so many now is one of the hardest things because, okay, some people have the notion if they have the money, the resources, and can run a little bit, that they can be an artist. Or if they have the support of their hometown, and their hometown might max out at like 5,000 people, that they are now, this is what God has called them to do. Now, I'm not gonna be the one to tell another indie, oh, you didn't hear from God. Who am I? Like I can't say that. But I will say it's not competition, but it's definitely very saturated. So it's very saturated, or it's more saturated now than it was back when I was growing up. I mean, I'm not that old, but when I was growing up, we didn't hear a lot of independence. You just kind of heard a lot of the mainstream over and over and over and over again. But now there are so many independent artists. There are so many indies, to the point where it's just like, okay, how do I keep up? How do I keep up? There's almost like new music coming out every single week. So it's like, how do you keep up with the, like, independent is like the way to go now. So that's one of the hardest things, to make sure that you do what you need to do to stand out, to be heard, and then it challenges your mind. Okay, like I was saying before, what can I do differently that's going to set me apart from Mike Sanders, I don't know, who is an independent artist who has great music as well, and who has a great message, who has a great this, who has a great that. Like, what can we do to make sure that there's room for everybody?
Let me say this to you, just as somebody who has managed artists for a while, and have had just a modicum of success myself, in the music industry. I will say this to you. I know it may seem like everything is saturated, but the truth of the matter is, a lot of these artists that are out here really don't have the level of exposure that you may think they do. See, what happens is on social media, we see a lot of them visually, but the truth is their reach is not really going far. So it's
You're
one
right.
thing to be seen on social media, but it's another thing to have reach. Reach means that you're going beyond just the people in your little circle or sphere, but it goes beyond that, goes into other markets, and it converts over to sales and streams. That's where, because the truth is, man, there have been tons of indie artists for years.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been a lot of artists in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like you said, what's going to separate you from that? And I think one of the creative ways is definitely engagement on social media is going to be huge. Having something interesting to say, whether that
Mm-hmm.
be through your presentation of your music or your presentation fashion wise, or a combination of the two. There are ways to that again. I think that this industry forces you to be relevant, and
And,
it's your
and you
job
have
as
to
an
you,
artist to
you
do
have
that,
to
right?
you have to capitalize on that. And people always, I hate when, say I had to pray again. I don't hate it, but I feel as if we want to box God in, and we just feel like He is infinite in His power, and we believe that He is. But you also have to progress and evolve as the world evolves, and then know what works for you. So some people, we don't even. Some people like have the I would use like Kalante Gavin. He is great. He can sing, yes, but one thing that we fell in love with was the authenticity of him. The same churchy boy and the same all that he gives on stage is the same that he does off stage. So one thing that I also tell like other artists or other people who ask me whatever, what do you do? You just have to be authentic. If you are a fun, now be authentic with regard to not being disrespectful. Because what you might find funny, the world might not find funny or comical, whatever the case may be. But just be authentically you. Because when you then put on a character, that's how you then go crazy. We watched the Clark Sisters movie yesterday, and it kind of portrayed like one aspect, kind of portrayed like Twinkie. She was a character. She was the organ player. So what happens? What happens when life happens? Life takes a turn for like the worst, and now you lose it because you can no longer keep up this character. You can no longer keep up what you presented to the world. I can't. I guess I'm about to break. So if you would start off being authentically you and letting those people who are going to follow and cling to you and support you naturally do that because they love you, it makes it easier for you because all you are doing is being authentically yourself.
Right.
And you're just you. I think it makes it easier, and it makes you more relevant because we have so many people who are not authentically them, and it's like what are we following? So like you said, if you are a fashion person, um, show some. I tell people all the time, like in my last photo shoot, I styled myself because I like clothes. Like I like clothes. So I was able to style myself and then now talk about it. Like, hey yo, where'd you get that hoodie from? Hey, where'd you get those pants? Whatever the case may be. You now create conversation, you create interest because people are now intrigued to something in addition to your music. You know what I'm saying? So you have to just make it makes you relevant. So you have to be authentically you.
I think that one of the things that's really important, because of the way streaming music has changed the industry, one of the things that I often see my personal evaluation of indie artists and gospel is that they are not keeping pace with the changes of the industry. Case in point, it used to be when you put out music, you put out a full-length album, you might put out a lead single to that album and maybe a follow-up lead single, a follow-up single, and then put out the album. Well, the way streaming works today, people get bored because there's so much going on. So you have to stay. So now it's basically like you're just putting out singles. And I'm going to say this. I see this a lot on the secular side, but I don't see a lot of it in gospel, where the secular artists, you might see Drake put out a song today, and then next month there's another song comes out, and the next month another song comes out. And this is one of the things that I'm doing with my own artist. She released a song the end of January, first part of February. She's releasing one next Friday. She's releasing another one in May. And, and what happens is it's like you're creating a smorgasbord for people to eat from. And it's also what we call audience development. It's developing her audience on these streaming sites like Spotify. Like her first single did really well, 15,000 streams in the first week. You know, those are good numbers. On Spotify alone, she has 6,000 streams on one song. And so one of the things we're doing with her is we're attacking, going hard in the paint. We're attacking it, just releasing, and building a catalog so that people don't forget about you. Because the thing is, you put out one single and they don't hear from you 2-3 years down the line, then it's like you really almost have to reestablish yourself.
Exactly.
You don't want that. You want to continue to build on the progress. And so again, to indie artists out there that may be watching this, or if you're aspiring to get in the industry, I'm telling you now,
it's free nuggets.
The streaming game has changed the music game altogether. You better be ready. And by the way, don't be afraid to invest in what you say God told you to do. Period.
That's a big thing. People always say, first of all, I love people don't like the word gigging, but I love gig. I love traveling. I love being able to go different places and sing. But I also understand you have to be ready to like you said, to invest. And invest is not always financial. Financial mostly, yes. But you have to be ready to invest in yourself. And I don't think a lot of people are. Investing in yourself definitely comes in. Like, you don't see the investment when now, as an artist, because I invest in my brand, because I invest in the artistry and what people claim or what people attach Trey Cook to. Like now, you have to invest your mind always being on. You have to be willing to invest in the fact that, like, now you always have to be thinking like, all right, cool. You have to be willing to, like, the investment in myself is caring what I say on social media.
Right.
Investment in myself is when I go out certain places, who you're gonna be attached to. What do you look like? Make sure you look like something. Make sure all these things, in addition to the financial investment, is I can't hang out with my friends on the weekends all the time because I'm investing into my ministry, because I had to, on Saturday night, I got to sing in the morning. I got to sing somewhere Sunday morning, or I have to sing somewhere Saturday night. So I can't just be all willy-nilly. We're going to take a trip to Vegas and we're just going to go out and just, no, I have to work. Right? You have to invest in mode and craft. Go to seminars, go to lessons, go to workshops, go to different things, whether it be free or whether it be, you know, a monetary stipend. Learn the business, learn other things outside of being able to get on the stage and sing. Be the people in the labels, you just go, and I mean, they do it now. Artist development. You need to be able to know. I mean, you go to, like, let's say a studio. What is the engineer doing? Take the time to invest in yourself. Learn how to engineer your own sessions. Learn what is the difference between mixing and mastering. And that the only difference is there's two different words. What do those things mean? Learn the radio, because everyone wants to be on radio, and you would pay a radio rep $10,000 and still be in the same place that you were in 4, 5, 6 months ago, and $10,000 short. So learn these things, learn your craft, read, study, and just invest in yourself so that you can not just be anointed, but you can be smart.
Yeah, my view personally on radio is I think you should invest on social just as much, if not more than radio, only because when you build a following on social, that's hard to fight with or deny. So it's almost like you're forcing radio to come over to you rather than it being the other way around. And so I think social is really a huge, huge thing that needs to be not only embraced, and by the way, a lot of the millennial generation are, it's much more naturally in their wheelhouse to engage on social media, but you can still be effective. It's how you engage too. It's not just doing TikTok videos and all of that, knowing how to do it on that level and posting your favorite sandwich and all that stuff, but being strategic and smart and putting together a plan. One of the things that I do with my artists, anybody that asks me to manage them, the first thing I find out, I interview them and I ask key questions, and I don't lead with an answer. I just let them talk because they're going to tell me what I want to know. But if I decide to bring the artist on, the first thing that we do, I tell them, I'm not going to promote you for any bookings right now. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay a foundation. What is that? Making sure that your branding is on point because you are your brand as the artist. Okay. Do you have a website? If you do, is it up to par? Is it informative? Is it interactive? Is it engaging? Do you have proper photographs? Because God knows a lot of the stuff people putting out, I'd be like, what in the world? And, graphics, all of that has to be established. Your biography, all of that, your one sheet, your EPK, all of that needs to be set up first. I told my artists, I ain't doing nothing for you on the booking side until all of this is done. Why? And she's been getting opportunity after opportunity. But the thing is, she was ready. So, for example, really quickly, she got an opportunity here in Dallas to be on television. We have a thing here in Dallas called the Black Academy of Arts and Letters. And every year they do the Black History concert, Martin Luther King, in a tribute to MLK. And it's carried live on TV. And they've won 3 Emmys, 3 years in a row for this program. So this is the 4th year that they're up for Emmy contention. And she's on this one. And here's the thing. When she went into the audition, I set up the audition for her. She goes in. They're like, oh, yes, we want you. We need a photo like right now. Luckily, I'm with her. We already got all that, right? Because we started out on everything first, and then we started booking stuff. And so I just that's a very important thing that I think artists need to walk away from is knowing
free nuggets.
Man, have your stuff together and ready because you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. Just like you didn't know I was going to hit you up. I've been following you for a while, but I don't always hit people up immediately that I follow. Sometimes I just want to see what you're doing. I want to see how you progress before I'll hit you up. But in this case, you didn't know me from a can of paint. Or at least I don't think you did. But you didn't know I was going to hit you up about being on this Indie Artist Corner. But because your stuff was together, you were ready to go.
Amen. Yes, you have to be. He's giving me some free. These artists, I hope they're listening. He's giving me some good free nuggets. You have to be sure that you're ready and prepared because when we talk about relevancy, that's going to set you apart. Because especially, I don't think people understand the magnitude of good graphics. I don't think people really literally understand the magnitude of good graphics. That if you know what you're doing, you can pull your audience.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get, since you're giving free nuggets, you can pull your audience by how you look and worry about the singing part later. If you want to be completely honest, you can pull your audience by your graphics. I'm like, ooh, I'm intrigued. Who is this? What do they do? And we're not saying worry about the singing later because you always want to make sure that your craft and your talent is, polished and put together as well. However, have you ever heard a song on iTunes or whatever, but you were just turned off by the picture because they took the picture and made the album on Word, they made a Word flyer and clip art a picture into it and posted the words, and it you did this on Microsoft Word, on Microsoft document, and made it a cover. So now you can have a great song, but now I don't even want to listen to you because I'm just like, this don't. It's not appealing to me. It's not appealing to me. So you definitely want to make sure you invest in your graphics and make sure your things are put together and professional. Not I don't care if we have an iPhone 11 that takes pictures like a professional photographer. It's not a professional camera. So you want to make sure you go in and take professional pictures and make sure all the logistical aspects of your business is set up, because that's going to separate you from people taking you seriously to people not taking you seriously.
Well, yeah,
if you have
and I'll
kind of
tell you
janky
another thing.
business, it's gonna be
Yeah,
like they're not for real.
yeah. I mean, another thing about that too is really honestly, you have to be hitting both fronts simultaneously, because
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the reverse. I've seen someone who had great graphics, but the product was trash.
Oh yeah,
So,
see.
so because here's the thing. To me, that's more of a tragedy, because it's like your graphics set me up, because I was thinking
So
it was
yeah,
about to
I
be
mean,
killing, and then when I listened to it, I'm like, whoa, what happened?
but you definitely want to make sure that you are, and I mean when I say like I said, I hope when people listen to my music, they see the growth, and I don't mean just lyrically. I mean in all aspects of artistry. You always want to grow and build and get better and get better. So when I say, make sure your everything's put together, make sure your graphics are put together, but make sure your music is put together too. So make sure it's down to make sure your music, your instrumentation is not too busy. It's not so busy where it's not duplicate. We can't duplicate it. Somebody cannot, they can't sing this in church unless your goal is to not be able to sing your songs and only you can sing them. If you want somebody, churches to sing these songs or other artists or other people to be able to sing your songs, make them singable.
Yeah.
So make sure everything is like polished. Make sure you get your things mixed and mastered. Make sure you get your songs professionally mixed and mastered. So
Well, let me say
so the
this too.
levels can be right. So
Yeah.
everything, because you just have, everything, like you said, you just have to be polished on both fronts, the visual and the audio. Make sure everything is just like you said, simultaneously working hand in hand.
Yeah, and the final thing I'll say on this whole thing is, look, at the end of the day, your music needs to tell a story, and it needs to
Absolutely,
tell us who you are. Because what I think a lot of people don't get, we don't know you personally, so
absolutely.
really we're depending on your music to tell us who you are, tell
Mm-hmm.
us who you are, and tell us what you're about, right? So again, just make sure on that part is substantive. And I'm saying this just in general to all of the artists that may be watching, even if you may be an aspiring artist that's thinking about jumping into this thing. I'm just saying it's a lot to it, and it's definitely more than a notion. So you might be a great singer, but that don't mean you're a great artist. And there is a difference and a
Oh my,
distinction.
that is so. Oh, that is so. It is not even being rude. It's
No.
not being rude. Just because you can slay your church under a pew on a Sunday morning does not necessarily mean that you need to be on the Stellars trying to sing to us. And that's like I said, that's not even being rude. You just have to know the lane in which that you can maneuver effectively in. And everybody, because let me tell you something, the artistry or being an artist is not all what it's kicked up to be. It's not all, oh my God, the glitz and glam. I mean, you have to worry about it in each thing that you do. You have to be mindful of, oof. Like I'm always mindful. Somebody might know me, or somebody might hear my music one day and be like, "Ooh, that's what he does." Or it's been plenty of times I've been in the grocery store and I've sang at so many different churches. There is no way in the world that you can count and remember each person that was in the venue
Right.
that you sang at. But just because you don't know them, that doesn't mean they don't know you. So
Right.
you have to be mindful that, like, all right, when you claim the artist title, people then put you at a different pedestal, put a higher, I guess, mantle on you. And you just have to be ready that you are at all times, ready to hold that mantle. Being an artist is not just being on the stage; it's ministry. So no matter where you are, you have to be able to be ready to minister and put into action the things that you sing about. And have a story, like you said, that is relatable. Have a story that people can like relate to. Like I want people to come up to me and be like, "Hey Trey, yo, your song really helped me create this Fortune 500 company because I was fearful that it was going to fail or whatever the case may be, but because I listened to your song and I prayed and God gave me the strength and the courage to do it. Boom, here is where I am today." So I want people to be encouraged and have a story and be able to relate. And you just have to be the artist, aspiring artist, indie artist, whatever. You just have to be ready for what you are putting into the atmosphere and be ready for what it brings to you.
Well, man, that's great, Trey. Again, I just want to thank you so much for your time and for agreeing to be on our Indie Artist Corner today. Wish you much success. And I also want to remind our audience out there, you can find Trey's music on Spotify and all major digital outlets. And it's on, don't forget, it's on our All Access Gospel Indie Artist Corner playlist. So you definitely want to go check that out. The single's out right now called No Fear. I need you guys to go download or stream that and take care of that and look for him up, book him. We want you to book Trey. So Trey, tell them again how they can get a hold of you.
You can go on my website, www.treycookmusic.com. There's a booking request form where you can find out all the info and videos and pictures that you need. You can also email my management team at treycook.booking@gmail.com. You send the request and we will definitely get on top of that. Once this quarantine and Corona leaves out of here, we would definitely be at your church once you've sprayed down, amen, and Lysol, and make sure you have hand sanitizer, amen, and we would definitely be there.
Well, man, that's what's up. That's great. Again, so good to talk to you, man. And listen, everybody, I want you to make sure that you definitely go check us out as well at www.allaccessgospel.com. Make sure you sign up to and subscribe to our mailing list. Go on our YouTube channel also and subscribe. You'll be able to catch the replay of this interview on YouTube as well as our website and all of our social media platforms as well. And speaking of social media, go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AA Gospel. Man, listen, it's been a great time, Trey. Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing so much more from you in the future. And we'll keep you posted when we do some other indie artist gospel things and hope to have you be with us at some point.
Anytime, man. Make sure whenever we're in Texas, we gotta make sure that we link up and see each other.
Yeah,
man,
definitely.
And chop it up. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate you so much. Love you guys, and make sure you follow us and stay tuned for what's coming up next.
Yes, sir. All right, this is your boy Derek Huggins, aka the Mega Mogul, here on All Access Gospel Indie Artist Corner. That's it. That's our time. We out. Peace.
All right.
All right. Take care.